The betrayal had begun, and the storm that loomed over the Lotus Sect was no longer just a shadow on the horizon. It had arrived. The once pristine courtyards and towering pagodas now lay in ruins, and the air crackled with malevolent energy. Smoke curled upwards, carrying the scent of destruction and despair. Chen Wei stood at the heart of the carnage, his demonic energy surging around him in violent waves. His eyes glowed a crimson hue, and his aura radiated raw, unyielding power. This was the culmination of years of secret practice, of taming the dark arts, of honing his hatred into a weapon. The Lotus Sect, the very sect that had destroyed his family and the demonic sect he had once called home, was now falling by his hand. At the edge of the battlefield, Lin Yue, sword in hand, emerged from the shadows. His expression was a mixture of sorrow and disbelief. He could barely recognize the man standing before him. "Chen Wei," Lin Yue said, his voice trembling with a pain that went deeper than physical wounds. "What have you done?" Chen Wei turned to face his former master, a bitter smile curling on his lips. "I've done what had to be done," he said coldly. "This place, your righteous Lotus Sect, destroyed everything I held dear. My family, my sect, my home, all gone in the name of your so-called justice." Lin Yue's grip on his sword tightened, though his heart ached at the sight of the man he had once trained, the boy he had watched grow. "You've let the darkness consume you. This isn't the Chen Wei I know." Chen Wei's eyes narrowed. "The Chen Wei you knew never existed. It was just a mask I wore," he snapped. "This is who I truly am, and I'll make sure you pay for what you've done." Without warning, Chen Wei lunged forward, his movement swift and deadly, his dark energy striking like lightning. Lin Yue barely had time to parry, the clash of their powers sending shockwaves through the ruined courtyard. The battle was brutal. Lin Yue fought with all his strength, but Chen Wei's power was overwhelming. With each strike, Lin Yue's injuries mounted, his movements growing slower, his breath heavier. Finally, a devastating blow sent Lin Yue crashing to the ground, blood staining his robes. He struggled to rise, his sword slipping from his grasp. Chen Wei loomed over him, his crimson eyes blazing. He raised his hand, demonic energy pooling in his palm. "It's over, Master," he said, his voice cold and final. But as he prepared to deliver the final blow, something inside him wavered. Memories surged unbidden to the forefront of his mind. Moments of laughter, of shared meals, of quiet nights spent training beneath the stars. He saw Lin Yue not as his enemy, but as the man who had cared for him, taught him, and, though he hadn't admitted it to himself until now, the man he loved. Chen Wei faltered, his hand trembling. He stumbled back, the demonic energy around him flickering erratically. "No," he whispered, his voice breaking. "I can't. I won't kill you." Lin Yue, barely conscious, looked up at him, his gaze filled with both sorrow and hope. "Chen Wei," he murmured. "I've gone too far," Chen Wei said, his voice raw with anguish. "I thought I could do this, but I can't. Not to you." Tears streaked his face as he fell to his knees, clutching his chest as the dark energy within him spiraled out of control. "This power, it's tearing me apart. I can't stop it." His body trembled violently as he channeled all his remaining strength inward, targeting the demonic roots that had taken hold of him. The pain was unimaginable, his screams echoing across the battlefield as he fought to purge the darkness. Lin Yue watched in horror, his heart breaking as he saw the man he raised tearing himself apart. "Stop!" he shouted, crawling toward Chen Wei despite his own injuries. "You'll die if you do this." Chen Wei looked at him, his eyes softening for the briefest moment. "You still care whether I live or die, Master. Look around, look at yourself. I did all this. I destroyed all this. It's better this way. If I don't stop it now, I'll lose myself completely. I'm sorry, Master. For everything. For not listening to you, for letting my hatred blind me. I wanted to avenge them." Lin Yue's breath hitched, his chest tightening. "Chen Wei, I'm sorry. We made you into this, it's not your fault," he whispered, reaching out to touch his face. "Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you tell me who you were? I should have at least tried to make things justiciable for you." "I was afraid," Chen Wei admitted, his strength fading fast. "And now it's too late. Master, for this last time, can you see me, not as your disciple, but as a man who loves you? I love you, What? You love me, Chen Wei? Why? Why now? Lin Yue asked, confused. It's okay. It's not too late yet. I won't lose you. Summoning every ounce of his spiritual energy, Lin Yue placed his hands on Chen Wei's chest, channeling his power into the younger man. The light of his energy clashed with the remnants of the dark aura, the two forces battling for dominance. It was a grueling process, but Lin Yue refused to give up. Slowly, the dark energy began to recede, and Chen Wei's breathing steadied. When his eyes fluttered open, they were no longer crimson, but their original deep, soulful brown. He looked up at Lin Yue, his expression one of disbelief and gratitude. You saved me. I couldn't let you go. I couldn't lose you, Chen Wei. Not now, not ever. Chen Wei reached up, his hand trembling, to touch Lin Yue's face. Do you forgive me? Lin Yue took his hand, holding it tightly. I do, and I accept your love. You're not alone anymore. We'll face this together. The two of them sat in the ruins of the Lotus Sect, their bond stronger than ever despite the pain and betrayal. The path ahead was uncertain, but they knew one thing for sure: they would face it together.